So, I'm doing something different for this one. This is post-commentary. I'm doing it like this for multiple reasons. First of all, it is my personal tradition to play Cake Story in the summer, and I had no idea when I would get around to recording this. So the footage you're seeing was recorded in the summer, and I've just held on to it until the time came for this video. I don't know why I might drop my voice so low for that part. Anyway. Now the second and most important reason for me doing post-commentary this time is that this will be the last time. And because it is the last time, it is very important that I say everything I need to. So the best way to ensure that is to write it down and not be distracted whenever I finally record this. And another note to self, my voice does not go that deep. Why am I dropping my voice that deep? Anyway, I'm reading off of a script, but I'm still recording this with one take in case you couldn't tell by now. As a side note, I also wanted to add that for whatever reason, I'm really not looking forward to recording this. I've been kind of just laying in bed for like the past hour. Don't know why. Never been bothered by the idea of needing to record something before. And there we go. Now, I thought about it a lot. I thought about this channel a lot, its future, my hopes for it, that kind of thing. Thing is, once upon a time, I had a good thing going. You can come through the ashes and see for yourself. I got something in my throat just then. Where the hell was I? Anyway, you can come through the ashes and see for yourself, but I was starting to have some regular success by posting short time lapses of me sketching the bust of characters I like. I stopped making those videos, and the few people that had started to watch also stopped watching. And the channel growth has remained stagnant since that decision. I'll be honest, it was really discouraging. During this phase was when I uploaded the time-lapse of drawing Ori. I'm still really proud of that piece. Anyways, I had hoped that anyone who had liked my shitty little sketches would then get recommended my Ori time-lapse and get an idea of what I can really do. But of course, as you can probably guess, that didn't happen. It really felt like people were saying, hey, your sketches are nice, but we don't actually like your art. Because this wasn't the first time a time-lapse I made didn't get any views. I had such high hopes for my Isabelle time-lapse, and it also nothing. In hindsight, why would I think there was no reason for me to expect the video would do well. My channel is tiny, and I don't do the title thumbnail thing the way you're supposed to. But that doesn't change the fact that I put a lot of time and effort into making that video, and I think the only views on it were views that I gave myself. Anyway, I've gotten a little off track. The point is that I stopped making videos centered around my art, even though they were actually getting some attention. Had I continued making them, probably would be a different spot right now. But I've never been able to garner any attention from anything else. Sure, there's been videos here and there that get more views than usual, but nothing has really stuck. It's just been numbers ticking up, which is fine. I have the monkey brain that enjoys it when numbers tick up, but then eventually the numbers will stop ticking up, and then that's when I say, okay, time for a new video. but then the numbers don't tick up on the new video. And that frustrates me. They were ticking up before, but not now. And even when the numbers were ticking up, it almost felt like it didn't matter. Like there were rarely comments, never any subscribers. I really appreciate the people, the views, the likes. I really do appreciate them. But those numbers always felt like they were just specific to their video. They don't mean anything for me. But they didn't mean anything for me in terms of growth, in terms of my next video, in terms of anything. Now, I started making these longer videos for a simple reason. I wanted to. And now, here at the end, I look back on them. I didn't say everything I wanted, and I didn't say it the way I wish I did. But overall, I think I'm satisfied. I think my greatest achievement in all this is that I hit my true message. It's not particularly well hidden, and it's not until I upload this video is the message even complete. But it's there, waiting patiently for whoever cares enough to read it. The main thing I need to address before I go is my name. Why that? Now, to be fully transparent, my original intention was to drag this out, giving little hints every so often before I was gonna. This was gonna be like a big thing. I'm kind of fast tracking it. And as it stands, right now, I haven't dropped enough hints as of right now to properly lead to, there's not enough pieces to the puzzle for you to solve it. So allow me to tell a story. In 6th grade, everyone was encouraged to join the band. Now, I had no interest at first, but at the insistence of my parents, especially my dad, I joined. Almost everyone back then in 6th grade joined, but probably half or more quit before the end of the year. I was not one of those. Back in 6th grade, I was actually fairly good, and it's really easy to enjoy something when you're good at it. And the metric I'm saying that I was good, I was second chair, for almost the whole year. That's the metric I'm going by. Now, every time there was a grade promotion, we auditioned to determine our placement in the band the following year. So in my district was weird. 6th grade wasn't middle school yet. So going from 6th to 7th, I'm transitioning to middle school, and the way they ran the bands in middle school was there's from best it's honor, then symphonic, and then concert, and then cadet being the worst band. I got placed in concert, so I'm second to worst. And I was disappointed at the time, but I still had enough fun. I was still enjoying it that I hadn't even thought of quitting. Now, again, it's going from 7th to 8th. It's time for auditions again, and I was terrified at the prospect of being in concert band again, or maybe even getting demoted to cadet band. So you can imagine my shock when I found that I was first chair in the symphonic band. And now there was a competition called All Region, where students were giving really technically demanding pieces. Well, calling it I wrote pieces of music, but really it's kind of just it's not really musical. It's not like it doesn't really like sound great. It's just something that's hard to play. So if you can't play it, you have to be good at your instrument in order to play it. And that's how the competition was based. How well you could perform this. Now, I was told that if you performed well at all region, I don't know what the threshold for how well you had to perform is, but the word was if you did good at all region, you could get promoted, but you could move up a band. So, seeing as I'm first choice symphonic band, I'm like right there. I wanted to give it a shot. I felt like maybe I could do. But soon enough, it was clear that first place symphonic band, we don't know how that happened. Obviously a fluke. And there were all region practices, and I forget playing them well or with any sort of stylistic touches, any of that. I couldn't even finish the piece. Call it determination, call it stubbornness, call it stupidity. I still gave it a shot at the actual, the main competition, and at least I didn't come in last. I remember the band director, she said she was proud of me for the exact reasons I don't remember. It was something really pathetic, you played multiple notes without having to pause, or something really pathetic like that. It didn't feel great. And anyways, now we fast forward, and it's time for there's another grade promotion. It's time to go to high school. And the thing with high school is that this is where marching band begins. So my thought at the time was, all right, I don't play well, but maybe I'll be a good marcher. No, at least not the first year. I did end up figuring it out. But the first year, freshman year, I was an alternate in case one of the better students failed a class, or eligibility was a big issue. I'm an alternate. Should another student get kicked out, I would take their place. The band director they decided who gets spots and who gets placed as an alternate based on their observations during summer band summer band camp, which it's marching and music practice for. I remember it being 4 hours a day for 4 weeks leading up to the start of the school year. I remember it was not fun. It was it started something second week of July, I think, maybe the first week of July, right after the 4th. I don't really remember. So I'm an alternate, and the alternates were called shadows because during practice you would shadow one of the actual marchers. At first, being a shadow, but I actually didn't mind it too much at first, because in order to still give you practice experience, every now and then they would swap you out with the guy you were shadowing. And when I wasn't actually marching, there were I had some friends who also got sidelined. So not too bad at first. But Then there's around things around the end of October is the eligibility check. And the friends that I had on the sidelines, they got they filled some spots, and I was left behind. So marching band is only the fall semester of the school year. The second half is concert band. So like instead of like putting on a marching show, it's just how good can you play and sound. So in high school we had two bands. It's just honor and symphonic. So when I get placed in symphonic, it didn't feel as bad because it's just not honor band. It's like I'm last. Like, yeah, you got last place, but you got last place out of two. It doesn't feel as bad. So the end of that year, the head band director retired. So the next coming school year, we have a new band director. Now this new year, I really don't remember the exact reason why, but almost everyone in my section had a spot. Keyword almost. I was the only one who had a shadow with I was sharing a spot with a freshman. And now this is the part that there's a happy section to the story. I marched the spot, and the guy shadowing me was the one who remained on the sidelines. Like I said, I did eventually figure out how to march, so that's how that happened. And overall, that semester was probably the most I enjoyed band, like in all my time in high school and middle school. That was a kind of a fun semester. Now, new band director, which means there's some changes, and the main thing he wanted was he wanted 3 bands. He wanted to create a concert band. Because I think he wanted the symphonic band to be. I remember him saying along the lines of like he wanted 3 competing bands, but then I think I also remember him saying he wanted the symphonic band to be better. Point is, he's making 3 bands. I don't get, like, as far as I remember, the symphonic band was doing fine, won plenty of awards, but I don't know, I guess he just wanted 3 bands so we could get, bring home, 3 awards instead of just 2 for the 2 bands. I don't know, the new band director is trying to make a name for himself, I guess. Who knows? Who cares? So based on this story the way I've been telling the story so far, you could probably guess that I end up in concert band. But it's worse. It's worse than just ending up in concert band. I was last chair. I rarely talk about my time in band, but anytime I bring it up, or anytime I talk about it, I always prep. I really typed this word without knowing how it's pronounced. I always preface that I suck. But I was like, it's common to, it's like, people downplay themselves to try to be humble is a common thing. But when I was last chair of the worst band. I was the worst player in the band. Like, I remember this one guy I met in college. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met. He's a great guy. And we were talking about, like, he plays piano or something. We're talking about music, and I tell him this. I bring up the band, or the band thing comes up, and I tell him this. I tell him, hey, I played an instrument in band, but I sucked. I was terrible. And him, being the nice person that he is, he's like, oh, come on, don't say that about yourself. You can't. I'm sure you're not that bad. No. Last chair, last band. I was the worst, objectively. Now, there was some logistical issues, and the band director wasn't able to just say, he wasn't able to just snap his fingers, create a new band like that. There was some real issues that came up when he made the concert band. So what ended up happening was there was this storage area that the percussion used. It was like mostly percussion. I think I think there was some like tuba cases in there too. But anyways, storage area. And they just moved some chairs in there, and there we go. That's the concert band hall. And they got one of the assistant band directors to teach us. And for a few weeks, she did. She really gave it her best shot. The problem is the specific like this assistant band director was like, she was in charge of like everything, like all like the like not necessarily like the conducting or whatever that the other band directors do, but she was in charge of like every other like office related, money related, whatever related thing that kept the band running. Like she was like easily the hardest worker there. Anyway, and so on top of having all this responsibility, they gave her the responsibility of conducting a band. So after a couple of weeks, she just realized like it's not happening. I got too much to do. But this isn't even a real band hall. Like, I'm sorry, guys. So like, we're not even halfway through the semester, and this concert band was just a free period. And honestly, one of the highlights. It was a free period. It was like me, a couple of my, like, if I wasn't doing homework, I brought out my Switch and we were playing Smash. It wasn't too bad. Anyways, that was sophomore year. We got New Year's coming up, and every year we got new people joining the section, and my section was already super bloated. Like, it was already like, if not the biggest, it was the second biggest. Like, and we're getting even more people. Yeah. So, something I haven't brought up until now, but I need to bring it up. But I need to talk about is how the state level marching competition works. it's every other year for whatever reason. So every other year, the band directors are really pressed to make sure we put on the absolute best performance. So my freshman year was a state year. My sophomore year was the off year. So now this is my junior year, and this is once again a state year. And this is the first state year under the new band director. So again, he's bringing in some changes. The one that's relevant, or most relevant for this story, is that whereas before they looked at how well you're marching during summer band camp to decide who gets spots, who ends up as alternates. This time, it's based exclusively on playing ability, because the new band director, his thought process is you'll figure out how to march eventually. I need strong players. So, long story short, as a junior, I was shadowing a freshman. And what's even worse is she was the sister of this girl in my grade who she had beef with me for some reason. I don't really know. It gets kind of hard to keep track of who hated me and why. So whatever. But yeah, that was painful, as you can imagine. And for those of you keeping score at home, this is the second state year where I'm a shadow. So far, the 1 year where I ended up with the spot was the off year. So now we're reaching the end of the relevant part of the story, like why I even started telling it in the first place. So I'll skip the details of this semester and get to the ending so we can have some sense of levity. Once again, eligibility check comes, and there's now spots that need to be filled. This time, I was given a spot, and it was the spot of one of my friends who was a trombone player. It was just he wasn't the best student. He failed a class, and that's why he lost eligibility. But he's genuinely a nice guy. So and again, we're friends. So I did, I felt bad taking his spot a little bit. But anyways, he's a trombone player, and this girl that I had beef with, for whatever reason, she's also a trombone player. So we're technically in the same section now. So that was fun. And I had some friends they were on the inside in the trombone group chat, or the low brass group chat. I forgot which one. Doesn't matter. The point is, I got people on the inside telling me she was talking a bunch of shit too. But anyways, I ended up marching. We made it all the way to the state level. Yippee! Now we got a little bit of an epilogue to the story. The concert band was created for real that year, and they hired a new band director. Actually, at the time, I think he was just doing student teaching. But the point is, we had a dedicated band director and a proper band hall. Great things. So the head band director really, again, he intended for the concert band to be competitive, to go to competition and win things. And of course, I was placed in it. I probably didn't even need to mention that part, but yeah, once again, I'm in the lowest band. And also, of course, I'm the only junior that was in the band. Because who else makes it that far in without either improving or quitting? Anyways, none of this matters because once we left for spring break that year, we didn't come back. My junior year was the 2019-2020 school year. Now, why did I tell this long-winded story? What does this have to do with my name? Well, as I've stated in the past, I got the inspiration for my name from those nameless artists here on YouTube. X000X, for example. I have to say it slowly to make sure I don't mess up one of those characters. Yeah. Now, I wasn't able to make my name like actually completely empty. At least I assume they're using an empty character, or like whatever they're doing to make their name invisible. I wasn't able to do that. Either YouTube patched it, or in order to make your name invisible, you gotta break YouTube in a way that I just don't know how, and I wasn't able to. I couldn't just Google, or like it wasn't just on the front page of Google, you know. So, yeah. But there's another artist in this like quote unquote genre who goes by the Egyptian hieroglyph of a snake. But that still doesn't explain why. So there's this artist, Azari. And Azari wrote a song that on YouTube it doesn't have a name. But you go to Spotify or whatever, it's called Shadow Shadow. Anyways, enough. Enough about this. I have a lot I want to say. So, yeah, in some ways, I feel like a hypocrite for even considering ending my channel. Because to a degree, I feel like, ooh, boo, fucking who, you don't have subscribers, baby wants to quit because you didn't find a means to success, blah, 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 blah. Like, I've only done this for 3 years. In fact, fun fact, I am recording this on the 3-year anniversary. It won't go up on the 3-year anniversary, but that's the day that I'm recording this. Anyways, I've only done this for 3 years, and I haven't even given it my full attention for those 3 years. Like, most people would agree that I'm calling it too early. And, you know, there's also, like, you know, the idea, you know, all things in their own time, time and pressure makes diamonds, yep. But the thing is, like, when I hear my mom say my little cousin has a YouTube channel with like 20 subs, you know, she's telling me this because she thinks it's cute, right? Well, all I'm thinking is, I am not that far removed from a 3rd grader. And also, hopes and dreams don't pay the bills. Like, I just finished college as of writing this, which means I need to start looking for a job. So all of this is to say that, well, I don't necessarily want to stop. I need to. The channel needs to end. It was fun while it lasted. It was fun to think I could. To say I have a love-hate relationship with art is understanding the complexity of my relationship with it. You see, early in life, my parents, they saw something in the drawings I made as a kid. And apparently, my first time holding a pencil, I just intuitively held it the correct way, like the way you're supposed to. The reason I say apparently is because I vividly remember how many we taught how to hold a pencil. But apparently the story goes, I'm 3 years old, I knew how to hold the pencil correctly, and then I somehow unlearned that and had to relearn it. Anyways, yeah. They enrolled me in art classes to try and stoke these embers into a fire. Real poetic with the way I wrote some of this shit. And they were successful for the most part. Like early in my childhood, art was my thing. I was the art guy, right? Like if someone wanted a drawing or a design or something, I was the guy. I was the one who did it. Except I also came to know a cold truth about art. It's subjective. No amount of skill is necessarily guaranteed. Anyone is capable of making a piece that's better than what you can make. And you're always capable of making a piece that just isn't good. And it's not even because that's an off day for you, or the guy who outdid you. It's not even because he had a particularly good day. Art is just like that. Because it's subjective, that's just how art is. So, being the art guy, it always felt shaky. But that never mattered to my family. To them, I was, and probably always will be, the artist. I'm the artist of the family. And I remember a point during my time taking art classes, my dad told me he thought I was really good at still life painting. That it was where my talent lied. And I'm guessing my mom and everyone else agreed because that's what I ended up being pigeonholed into. So let's call this strike one against art. I was discouraged from making what I wanted in favor of what other people thought looked good. Now, 4th grade, my aunt approached me with an offer. She was going to pay for me to make a painting for her. I really don't remember why she wanted a painting, but she wanted a painting. And again, I am the family artist. I'm the person she turns to. Now, I was excited to work on this. This was at the time. This was the biggest project I had worked on. This is a 24 by 18 canvas, and leading up to this, I had just been the sizes were closer to printer paper. Wasn't actually using paint on printer paper just doesn't work, but it was the size of the cardstock or whatever material it is. Wasn't much bigger than printer paper. And this project ended up being the gateway to, just going forward. That's all I ended up doing from then on was these large projects. And once these large projects became the new normal, my mom, all she's doing is coming up with more things for me, more ideas for projects, more things for me to paint. One of her ideas was a flower. Again, apparently I'm good at still life, so she wanted me to paint a flower. Uh, I have to do it after. I could have done it before I started recording, but I guess I'll do it after. Yeah, I can. My mom framed it and has it up in our house. I can go take a picture to show you this one. Yeah. Now, anyways, my aunt saw this flower painting, and she really liked it, and she wanted me to make one for her. The main difference is if you see, like, this flower has like the sort of like the weird like bluish, like the blue background going on. The one I made for my aunt had a red background, kind of like that similar style. I don't know how the hell you describe the style, but it's like that. It's just red instead of blue. And also the flower, the flowers are a little different, but whatever. Same kind of painting though. And again, she's painting. So now we fast forward to around the time around freshman year of high school. So think it's like eighth grade that summer and freshman year of high school. Like that, like 1 to 2 year period. Maybe it's like 2.5 years, 1.5 years. I don't really know how long a span of time that is, but that period, yeah. So around by this point, I'm not taking art classes anymore. And you know, my aunt, she commissioned a painting for me. But this time around, there were some complications. There was this weird mismatch between like what I like. She told me what she wanted, and I had this picture in my head of like, you know, what I'm painting. But yeah, there was just a mismatch between this picture I had in my head and what she actually wanted. So I ended up having to like remake the painting like 3 different times, just painting over stuff that I had painted because that's just not what she wanted. So I got paint over, do it again, and it happened like at least 3 times. But that's not even the frustrating part. Before, back when I was taking art classes, whenever I would just work on these big projects at the art class, and the art teacher would, you know, be the one helping me, right? But now that I'm not taking art classes, it's my mom helping me. And she was cool. She was quite demanding. For one thing, she treated this project the same way she treated my homework, which is like, I can't relax until I had worked on it. You know, kind of like, I can't watch TV, can't play video games until I finish my homework. Can't watch TV, can't play video games until I worked on the fucking painting. Same mentality. And when I am working on it, she was always criticizing it, like both in quality and like she would, like I would paint like a cloud or something. She's like, that cloud doesn't look that good. She's like, you've painted a better cloud than that in the past. How did you paint it back then? Do it like that this time. I like the way you did it back then. I don't like the way you're doing it, you know, stuff like that. And then she's also and in speech, she's like, it's like it's been like, I don't know how many hours you've barely made I see very little progress. You know, stuff, you know, like stuff like that. It was so egregious. There were times where she was like instructing me how I should move the brush. Like, I'm just over, I'm painting. Like, I know how to do it. I've been doing this for years. And she's like, no, I think you should do it like this. Paint like this, like, I don't know, say I'm going side to side. She's like, no, go in a circular motion. I think you'd be better. Or something. I don't know, that's just an example. It's been a long time. I don't remember specifics, but it's, like, of that nature. Like to say she's living vicariously through me is an understatement. She was using me like a remote paintbrush. And the way she justified all of this was because, according to her, my aunt has connections. So I need to make sure she's happy. I need to make the best. It needs to be the best piece possible. So that I don't know. Using her connections, that's how I have a future in art. So yeah, this is strike two. My own feelings are completely irrelevant when creating a piece. So, now as this whole painting arc is playing out, there's another arc happening. So I'm going to go back in time to around 3rd grade. There's this one fateful day in art class. I came across a book on pen and ink drawings. For those unfamiliar, it's a medium method. I don't know. But it's where you use nothing but a pen or ink, like the name, and you create an image. You use techniques like hatching or cross hatching or whatever for shading. So what specifically caught my attention in this book was stippling. I didn't learn the name of that until a couple of days ago when I had to look up pen and ink. But basically, it's just making a picture using nothing but dots. That's what caught my attention. So I thought that was cool. And so one day, I'm at home. I'm just watching TV, and I decided I'll try it out. Let me try this. I'm just using my Crayola washable markers because that's just what I had. And I was just making simple objects I remember I had like a page of printer paper. I made a couple of things. The only one that I really remember doing was a cowboy hat, but I know I made more than just a cowboy hat. But anyways, my mom saw this. So, my mom was the elementary school librarian, and because of this, she made me give gifts to my teachers at the end of the school year. Now, I have no problem with showing appreciation to my teachers. I do have a problem with my mom picking out plants and animals for me to draw using pen and ink, and that being my gift to them. The reason I bring this up is because this pattern that started in elementary school is what leads to strike 3. But we got some more trauma topic first. So my mom was so infatuated with my pen and inks that she one day, it was like one summer, she bought me a canvas and told me to draw a turtle. It was a very specific species. It was like that she wanted. It's like native to where we lived or something. I don't really remember why. Like this, I don't know why this turtle was so goddamn important, but this was a very important fucking turtle. Anyway, so this is like summer. I think it's summer after 5th grade. Maybe before 5th grade. I don't remember. But the point is, it's summer, and because it's summer, I want to do normal kid summer activities, right? I just play video games, watch TV, sit around the couch, do nothing, maybe play with my Legos, whatever. I'm just trying to enjoy my time off from school. But again, just like what happened later when with my aunt's painting, again, my mom was treating this turtle the way she treated homework. So she gets after me and she punishes me for not working on it. Anyways, fast forward to freshman year. Back in that freshman year time period. So the band planned for a big trip to Disney World at the end of the year, which would have cost $1,000 for each student that wanted to attend. There were going to be some fundraisers throughout the year to cut down on that number, and that was why I agreed to it. My plan was I was gonna try my hardest at each fundraising event. Like I was just gonna fundraise the shit out of. I was just gonna fundraise like a motherfucker. But my parents wanted me to raise the money on my own. And how would I do that? By selling t-shirts featuring some of my pen and ink artwork. Obviously. So, my mom chose 4 animals that she thought were cute and, would sell, and made me draw them. And there are no words that can describe how little I wanted to work on this project. Like, listen, we're at the end of the story, and what's been the pattern this whole time? I have no say in what I create. I have no say in how I create it. I have no say in when I create it either. Like, I was quite literally sick of art at this point. I remember one night, I was relaxing after finishing my homework. My mom sat me down at my desk, and I was not to move until I made some substantial progress on one of the pictures. And the thought of working legitimately made me want to vomit. So I sat there. I just stared at the wall. Like, I couldn't move? Okay. But you can't, but I wasn't going to work. And, like it wasn't just my parents living vicariously through me. It wasn't just a complete disregard for what I wanted out of art, like what I wanted out of art. This time, with this project, my work was going to be mass-produced on T-shirts and then sold. These symbols of my pain were going to be worn by complete strangers. Like, eventually I finished the pictures, but I hope you understand why I didn't want to sign my name to them. I thought if I didn't take credit for their creation, then I could, maybe distance myself from the pain, and maybe I would be okay with producing and selling them. Right? Like, if I don't sign my name to them, I can look at them more objectively as just T-shirts with a design on them. But of course, my parents needed to green light everything. So once I made pictures that they were satisfied with, I won't go into the details, but my mom picked 4 animals, but there were more than 4 animals that I made pictures of. Anyways, once they were satisfied with the pictures, I was They told me to sign them. And then they freaked out when they saw how small I wrote my name. like, sorry about the mic. Like, for whatever reason, I didn't feel like I could tell them. I really didn't feel like I could share anything with them. Especially not like how I didn't feel like I could tell them how ashamed I was to have made these pictures. So I gave him some bullshit excuse about like not wanting to be like a fashion designer signing my name to clothing. It's a bullshit excuse. That's why it doesn't make sense. Okay. So like the compromise, quote unquote compromise that we worked out was it would be, instead of like just signing my name to it, it said designed by, yeah, whatever. Didn't really make me feel better, but whatever, compromise, quote unquote. But there was something about this whole this part just set off my dad. Like he began accusing me. He was right, by the way. He's right, but he began accusing me of like not being willing to commit. He's pointing out how my mom, she had been making a lot of phone calls to find the person to make these shirts, and I'm not holding up my end. The thing is, I only agreed to this project because it was the only way my parents would let me go on this trip. But this trip wasn't worth it. Long story short, we lost $100 down payment. We made a small order of T-shirts with it was just so to not upset the person, because there's like this T-shirt making lady, and she's expecting our business. So we placed an order to not like upset her or not leave her hanging. Instead of selling the T-shirts, we gave them out to some family members, and I will come across those T-shirts often, but I get a mini heart attack every time I see one. Just a painful reminder. But yeah, we just cut our losses, and that's the end. That's the end of the story. You would think that I would maybe feel guilty about this, but honestly, after that having that conversation with my parents, we came to that decision, came up with this plan to just call it quits, cut our losses, whatever. That night, that was the happiest I had been in months. The weight that was lifted off of me, again, words can't describe it. And now this is unrelated, but I still wanted to include this part. Again, that night after that conversation, shower, get ready for bed, whatever. I watched the first episode of what would end up becoming my favorite anime. Now, I wish that's where the story ended, but it isn't. So, first semester, my freshman year, I took painting. Because despite everything my parents had done to make me hate art by this point, I still enjoyed it. But, come the second semester, this is after the whole shirts thing. My dad says, "Hey, we have an extra canvas lying around. I want you to paint a portrait of your grandfather as a gift to your mother for our anniversary. So, like you see, my grandfather had passed away 2 months earlier, and you know my dad's thinking this would be a nice gift. But me, after the shirts thing, I was fucking done with art. There was nothing I wanted left. There was something I wanted to do less than make a painting for my dad. I had no intention of ever working on this, and to be fair, I don't think I ever told my dad, "Oh yeah, I'll do that." I think like the most I said is like when he approaches me is like, "Hey, you see that?" Because you know he points out the canvas I had that was sitting in the corner of my room. He's like, "Hey, you're able to make a painting of your grandfather, right?" I said something like, "Yes, that is something I am capable of doing." I never I never confirmed that I would do it, but whatever. Anyways, because this is my dad wants me working on this in secret because it's supposed to be a president surprise, whatever. He wasn't able to he couldn't punish me for not working on it, and he couldn't really pressure me into working on it. Like how my mom treated art like homework. That didn't apply to this project. And eventually he picked up on the hint that I have no intention of working on this shit. But I remember he got real accusatory. I'll never forget this. Like once he figured out that I was no intention of ever working on it, he goes, I'm paraphrasing. I wrote this part in quotations, but I'm paraphrasing it. This happened 7 years ago. God, it really was 7 years ago. God, so that part just hit me now. Anyways, so he goes, "Were you ever gonna man up and tell me you weren't gonna work on this? You couldn't just be a man and tell me you didn't want to work on this." I end the quotes there, but my dad's a real repetitive type of guy. He insulted my masculinity at least 5 times. Kind of just rewording the same sentence each time he did it. And now maybe you can see where my dad's coming from, but personally, again, 7 years later, I still fail to see where he gets off questioning my masculinity when he was asking me to make his present for his wife. Even if I did end up making the painting, what would that conversation have been? "Happy anniversary, dear. For your gift, I made our son paint your recently deceased father." I don't see the romance in coercing someone to make your gift for you. And I really, again, to this day, I don't understand why he thought I would be okay with working on this. We lived with my grandpa. I saw this guy every day. So his death was a big shock to me too. And I just can't imagine my dad thinking that I could just paint my grandpa like any of the other paintings I had worked on up to that point. Even if I wasn't in this headspace of being absolutely done with art, I still don't think I could have made that painting. It's too personal, his death. At the time my dad asked me that, the death was too recent. Also, he's asking me to paint in secret, which what would have been the most complicated painting I had made up until that point, because I hadn't done a face. or like, or I'd done maybe one other portrait either, and it was incredibly simplified. I had just a whole bunch of shit. But anyways, that was the last time someone asked me to paint something for them. So to wrap up this arc, here's strike 3. I could enjoy art or make money, but not both. Now, there's a bit of an epilogue here again. At the end of the year, after everyone who had, a lot of people, like their parents just paid the $1,000 for them to go to Disney World. So, at the end of the year, everyone who had paid went. And I remember my parents asking me, like at dinner, I think we were at like a fucking Denny's or something. And they asked me if I resented them because I didn't get to go. And I told them the truth. I did not resent them for not paying the $1,000 for me to go on the trip. I did not resent them for that. What I didn't tell them was that I do resent them for the relentless pressure to create art pieces for them. Now, sometime later, my mom wanted to hang up a self-portrait I made in, that painting class I took freshman year in my room. I had some excuse for her to not do it, but the real reason was that I was I am fucking done with art. And I didn't want a fucking self-portrait staring at me, just reminding me of everything. And also, can we acknowledge how weird it is that my mom was trying to dictate how my room is decorated? Like she walks into my room carrying the self-portrait, saying, "Hey, I want to hang this up on your wall." Like, what the fuck? It's my goddamn room. Anyway. Yeah, that portrait was again. It's monochromatic and had like a specific like look that like when I said like this portrait, it was like a simplified portrait. Like it's hard to describe it if you haven't seen it, and I'm not taking a picture of it and showing y'all because I actually don't know where the hell it is. And even if I did, no, I still won't take the fucking picture. Anyways, the thing is, it's a very stylized self-portrait, right? And she wanted me to make portraits like in that style of everyone in the family. And I told her no. I had some practical reasons. The biggest issue was that the reference that I used to make the painting, it was this picture I took of myself that got ran through Photoshop, and well, one, I don't have Photoshop. Sure, I could pirate it, even though my mom hates that, but whatever. I don't have Photoshop, but even if I did, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know how to recreate that effect. I don't know what they did to do that. But again, I'm fucking done with art. I don't want to make another goddamn painting. So fast forward junior year. For some reason, I needed an extra elective in my schedule. So much to my dismay, I ended up taking art appreciation. I remember the conversation with the counselor, talking about this. It was like she called. It was like me and my mom talking this over to get my schedule squared away. The counselor listed off like the electives that I could take. And it was like art appreciation, like fucking swimming or some shit. Or it was like it was like it was like art, or as much as I fucking hate art at this point, art appreciation was still the class I wanted to take the most. But I just remember, like, God, I remember the smile and like on my mom's face, like the small little grin, like trying to encourage me to take art appreciation. Like, God, yeah, whatever. But anyways, it's art appreciation. It's half art history and half just like a normal art class. Like, in the past, like if I took this like maybe in like 8th grade, I would have been really excited actually. Like I would have been like studied really hard for the history parts, and then like worked really hard on like the normal art class parts when we're like assigned projects and stuff. But when I took it when I did, I did not care. I hid my phone in my jacket pocket to cheat on the test. I didn't care to fucking study or even pay attention during class. Fuck that. And like instead of working on the art projects, I was just doing homework for other classes. I wouldn't start the project until a few days before it was due, and we were given like 2 weeks to work on each project. Anyway, the teacher for that class he was a cool teacher, so I feel bad for blowing off his class as hard as I did. But the reason I bring this up is like freshman year I took painting, and I was like very early on the teacher recognized, oh hey, this kid does good work, right? We go to junior year, I could not give less of a shit. Well, no, I could give less of a shit. I did during the 2 days or whatever that I was working on the project before the due date. I did put effort into making it look kind of nice, but whatever. The whole point is that this is just like I'm no longer an artist by this point. Except I never quit. The one lesson I learned from everything that happened was that if I wanted to enjoy art, I could not share it. Like I would draw a lot during high school. I drew a lot during high school actually. I just did it in secret. Like at night when my parents were asleep, I would stay awake and I would draw at my desk. Like my parents went out to the front errands, like go buy groceries, go like get the choose a car, whatever. They leave the house. That's why I bring out the drawing that I'm working on. I draw. But one day I got reckless. Like I knew my dad was home, but I thought he was in the backyard. I'm like I'm listening to the door, trying to count when I hear it opening and closing to try to track where my dad is. I miscalculated, and he walks in on me drawing. So if you think I like drawing in secret is some sort of like irrational response, well, so my dad told my mom that I had been drawing, and he had me show her what I had been drawing. Guess how they react? Okay, again, I wrote this part in quotes, but I'm paraphrasing. Hey, could you make more drawings so we can sell them? I shut down that idea as fast as I could. But I really want to speak on this. My parents are not materialistic people. Like it's very out of character for them to be so monetarily focused like this. But there's just something about like my artwork that they just see dollar signs. And like at a certain point it really felt like that's all I was to them. Like it really felt like my only value was my artistic skill. Because think about it. I need to make the best painting I possibly can so that my aunt might use her connections to get me recognition and money for my art. I need to raise money. So I have to make t-shirts because t-shirts were the only way my parents could think of that's the only medium that I can sell my art. Because for whatever, sorry I bumped the mic again. Because for whatever reason, art is the only possible way I could make money in my parents' eyes. I don't know when it happened. Like maybe from the first second I was enrolled in art class, maybe all the way back then. But at some point, my parents stopped seeing art as a method of self-expression, and it's to them it was just a product for monetary gain. And like they were willing to go as far as selling shitty drawings I made on goddamn copy paper that I colored with some fucking 5-year-old colored pencils I had laying around. Like these are just like I'm just trying to all I was trying to do is I got characters in my head, OCs, whatever the fuck, and I'm trying to get them out of my head and on paper. That's all I'm trying to goddamn do. My dad sees one of them, is like, oh, we gotta sell this shit. Well, it wasn't my dad, it was my dad. They both get blamed. We should sell this shit. We can sell this shit. So yeah, I don't share my artwork with anyone I know, even my friends, because every time I share my artwork, someone wants a piece. Like, hey, can you make this drawing that I want? Can you draw it like this? And then there's always the other side of the coin. Like when you get in your own head, it's like, what would people like? Will they like this drawing, right? Like the reason I hide my work is because by hiding my work, I make whatever I want. Like I am truly free to express myself. And so that's why, like even online, I continue to maintain a certain degree of anonymity because I don't want me specifically, like I need in order for me to share my artwork the way I do online, it needs to be separated from me. If that makes sense. Anyway, so circling back, that's why I didn't want to be the art guy. I didn't want to be the art guy. All the way back, circling back to me and back to the real world. Like I've tried getting into other things to see if there's anything, just any one thing that I could call my own. That could be my thing. But so far, no luck so far. Like maybe I'm fated to just be the art guy. Like maybe my parents had a point. This is the only value I have. This is the only thing I can do. The only thing I can do and truly be like, yeah, this is like I am the guy for this. On the topic of art, there's something I need to discuss before I wrap this up. I think I'll continue to post my drawings to some various accounts after this is over. As tumultuous as my relationship with art has been, I don't think I want to give it up completely. It's like an abusive relationship. Art has brought me nothing but pain, but I still see some good in it. I didn't need to read that line. That shit was corny as hell, but when I fucking wrote it. Yeah, now, I don't know how I'm doing on time. Actually, I do. I can just look up and see that I'm at an hour 20. But I recorded about 3 hours of footage that I need to fill. And I don't, well, as of writing this, I didn't know if I had written enough or if I had written too much. It was too little, or I hadn't wrote enough. But either way, I do want to make sure I include what will be my last run of Hell on this channel. So that'll be at the end. I won't talk over that one. I feel like I've said enough to be satisfied with this video. Thank you if you have made it this far, and thank you even more if you followed the whole journey of the channel. Before I go, I want to shout out Fantasy Creed. We did a little sub for sub action like way back. We had a similar sub count at the time, so let that sink in. Because my sub count remains stagnant. Anyway, she's doing quite well. So I want to thank her for being around, even if just for a little bit. I also want to thank her for letting me be a small part of her story. If you're the artsy type, you should watch her.